Jeez.
Isn't it wild how often, as a parent, I eat old food standing up? Does that still happen with like teenagers and stuff?
No.
No, because they'll finish their meal or they won't have a meal.
Yeah, no. And for some reason, it's not as appealing. Like, it's fun to see mac and cheese and chicken fingers. Like,
Yeah.
I always, I always laughed at how when you're cleaning up and you're eating standing up, you're in the process of throwing it in the garbage.
Correct.
And you're like, it's in one second it's in the garbage, but it's actually going to go in my body instead.
Well, and I'm also like, she's got snot on her nose, wipe it. And then like, I'm like so concerned with her germs. And then I just take her spoon and just like.
It's breaking bread. Hey kids, a great way to support the podcast is to join up for our Patreon. It's a great way to support the ongoing antics here at Breaking Bread. And also you get a lot of bonus material. You get extra episodes, you get extra material, you get things going on tour. It's a real fun experience and a really great way to help us keep the lights on. Oh, and buy Provolone. We got a fake Provolone. With Patreon money. Go over to patreon.com, look up Breaking Bread with Tom Papa, and join us, and we'll see you over there. I can't tell you what we're doing, but I'll meet you over there, and we'll talk about it. I brought you some cookies.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is the big reveal here?
Normally I bake bread for people.
Oh, right.
Because I'm on the road.
Right.
I couldn't do that.
Right.
Actually, truth be told, I could have given you a day-old one, put it in my... But how would you have felt if I presented you bread, home baked bread, but you knew that it was in my carry-on?
Right, that it did that. No, I think this is better.
Right?
But I will say I truly love knowing that you bake bread. I mean, I love when, comedy aside, I love knowing what comedians do otherwise or are passionate about.
Yeah.
It really is interesting to me.
It is
and you really do bake bread, right?
A long obsession.
Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah.
Longer than you've been doing comedy?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I've been doing comedy for 30 years.
Okay.
And I've been doing bread for like 10, 11.
What is it that you love about it? It isn't just eating bread.
Every once in a while, I catch myself and think, what is wrong with me? Why have I not stopped baking bread at a mad pace for a decade? It's just great. I always cooked, and there's something still about when I'm in the process of doing it, and then it's like actually baking, and you walk down the hall.
Yeah.
You're going to do whatever next stage, and the smell of baked fresh bread is in the house.
Yeah.
It just makes me very happy.
I get a lot of those TikToks of people baking bread like under hot coals for long periods of time.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know, but
it's like a Russian thing.
I don't know. Yeah. But there is something magical about producing a loaf of bread.
It really is. And it's insane how important it's been to humanity for so long.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I remember like I went into a water mill at one point on the road somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? This is how they used to, there's on a creek and it spins the thing. Yeah. And I was like, what is this used for? Making weapons, like plowing the land. Right. Yeah. And it's like, oh, so it's so they could break the wheat.
Right.
So they could bake bread.
Yeah, that giant
like this whole thing.
Down.
And it's like, oh my God, I didn't even know that wheat, just so many things came together for me.
It's weird.
Yeah.
There's something magical to it. And like, there's other stuff that's been around, like eggs. Why aren't we all going crazy about eggs?
Right.
They've been popping out longer than bread. But people are like, it's eggs.
Eggs, expensive.
Yeah. What do you do? I mean,
maybe partially why that fascinates me is I always think like, what is mine?
Yeah.
What is
it was tennis.
It was tennis, and I still love the sport, but I can't play. I can't play like I used to, and even in New York City, it's very tough to play tennis.
Yeah. Jeez. I went running by the. That's right, running. By the down the river.
That has to go with bread. If you're gonna eat and break this much bread, you have to be doing some cardiovascular.
Right, exactly. Yeah. There are days when it's purely burning whatever carbs are in me.
Yeah.
And there's some tennis courts there.
Where did you go run?
This is like if I'm downtown, like going from like Canal North.
I mean, and this, I want to say this on the record, but we are, right? We are recording, Danny? Yeah. I have never been to a worse city than New York City for playing tennis.
Really?
I mean, no, there are such few courts, so much. You have a very astute tennis population. They have a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
People have money here.
Yeah.
They're used to leaving town to go somewhere where there's, this is a big tennis city and there are no courts, and
that's ridiculous.
It sucks. And what's really frustrating as someone that actually used to, decent player, is you'll wait in line for hours for a court, and then the person in front of you doesn't really know how to play. And you're like, and you're thinking, well, that's good, they're playing.
Yeah.
But this also sucks that I'm on the same plane as this person for this short period of time.
I love those moments when you try and give people grace and a pass. Like,
yes.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah.
They have to get the
Well, and then they like serve like this, and I'm like, the grip is so wrong, but so yeah.
Oh, wait, you got them on the river, a couple.
Yeah, I mean, there's there are courts.
Yeah.
There's 8 million people though in Manhattan, and then Brooklyn. I've seen fist fights. You weren't here. There's always
God, that's gotta be.
Of course, there's always like a guy who teaches on the court and he's not supposed to. But
it really is such a
grind,
such a fight. I remember doing yoga when I lived here forever.
Yeah,
and I would go to yoga, and it's like, it's all about just Zen, small
balance.
People fighting over where their mat's gonna go. Yeah. People like sticking each other's thing. It was just like, it was a hellscape.
I mean, the Western interpretation or adoption of yoga is almost completely contrarian to yoga.
Completely.
Like I remember somehow the yoga company in LA and that was on Larchmont where I lived. I mean, the way that they automatic billed my credit card was ruthless. It was expensive. It was on the dot. It was at 12:01 a.m.
Right.
And I was like, I remember saying, to my friends at the time, like, this is completely not yoga. I feel like if I go to India, yoga is not going to be this.
No,
but I don't really know. I don't really know.
Yeah. It'll be free.
Yeah.
Come if you can, if you want, if you're allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this place is it's so cutthroat.
I mean, this basketball court over here, when you get out of it's fun. I was a few minutes early, and I just watching that.
Yeah.
You can just watch that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's like someone's arguing, someone's competing. There was a father helping his son with his jump shot. It's like all these beautiful things and terrible things are all in this little competitive arena.
Yeah. It really is amazing. Yeah. It really I've been talking about this on stage lately about craving going to a small town. Yeah. And it's like you just burn out in these cities. But it is also beautiful on one hand. It's like amazing. Like when I started getting nervous because I had Kevin Bacon on here and there was jackhammering. Like as soon as we said, good morning, Kevin. I was like, oh, New York. And I passed a couple things like jackhammering and sawing on the way here. And I started getting nervous that we were going to have to endure that. But that's what it's nonstop. Like there's never, we're good. Yeah. We're like, we did it. Let's just hang. It's constant destruction, rebuilding. Yeah. We were out of town for the weekend. We drove in last night very late to try to beat traffic, which we did. Good job to my family. Yeah, nice. We actually worked. Yeah, that's great. And we get to Brooklyn, we get the kids to sleep, and it's like drag racing in the street. Police sirens now going after the drag racers, which I'm like, there's no way they're getting the drag racer. It was absolute mayhem, and I'm from Michigan. It doesn't bring me calm. No, like some people's like, whoa, we're back. We're in the city. It's this. It doesn't do that to me. It makes me mad that I'm here. So I don't know how long have you been here? I've been here for 8 years. I was trying to think. When I got hired on the Daily Show was eight years ago. So that if it wasn't for the Daily Show, you're probably not here.
I was in LA playing tennis 3 times a week. Yeah. Ride my motorcycle, living in Hancock Park, Larchmont Village area. I will say, as you know, in LA, there's a lot of just sitting around. There's a lot of waiting.
Yeah.
And
now wait, because this is
yeah.
My wife wants to come back to New York.
Okay.
I'm like, it's pretty nice in LA.
Yeah.
It's that part. There's a lot of sitting around and waiting.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of sitting around and waiting here.
Yeah.
But it's filled with anxiety.
Exactly.
To survive.
You feel like you're
not
doing
something anymore.
I agree with you.
Right?
I agree with you.
You're just trying to deal with the jackhammers and drag racing.
The progress chart is the same.
Right.
But one of them every day, like, in a stock chart, it shows like volume on the day. Like the volume here is like huge day, small day, huge day, small day. Whereas in LA, in my opinion, and obviously you're a guy who's been busy no matter where you've been, but it does feel like you make the same progress.
Completely.
Yeah. But here it's like, I got 6 spots tonight, 4 spots. The taxi driver and I got in a fight, and it fills you. I see. Yeah, you feel like maybe you're doing more here. But,
you do, and when you go there, you feel guilty.
Correct.
Because you're sitting in the sun and not doing anything for an hour. You have to shed that constant pace of New York on your psyche.
I remember thinking often in LA, and I felt like, I was past at clubs I was working. I felt like, oh, what am I doing this week? It's like, oh, I have to send a letter this week. It's like that, like in New York, you do that. You go grocery shopping, you go to the gym, So, but from a tennis standpoint, LA, just court availability.
Oh yeah.
So,
it's year round. It's delightful.
Yeah.
But that's another thing here. You can only play outside
You only play outside and inside. I remember my buddy lives in Connecticut, and I was in Manhattan working, and he's like, let's try to find a place to hit in Manhattan.
Yeah.
It is in the winter. And I was like, oh, the Midtown Athletic Club or whatever. And I Googled it. It was like $385 an hour.
Oh my God.
What? I don't love tennis that much.
Oh my God.
And someone will be late. I used to book court. Someone's always late. Now it's like $11. I'm doing it in my head like it's $11 a minute. But yeah.
Oh man. So would you? Yeah. I'm answering my own question for you in my head, but I was gonna say, would you go back to LA if you had a gig?
Well, now I don't know. My kids were raised here. They're 5 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great question that I don't know the answer to.
The gig would lead you.
Yeah. I mean, have you let the gig lead you?
My kids were the same age.
Okay. When what?
When we were back and forth.
Okay.
And we lived here on 10th Street.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
21st Street. They were going to school.
Yeah.
Then we had something going on out there. So we had a house out there. So they would go to school there for a little bit. And then
you really would get them out of schools.
And then it got to that point where they had school here, then they had school there. And it was like, all right, these kids need consistency and friends. And
which we need too, but we comics are so yeah.
And then the scales tipped towards LA.
Okay.
And it just seemed I mean, I raised one New Yorker and one it's so funny. We literally have a physical manifestation in my daughters of our debate over New York and LA. One is a New York mouse, one's an LA mouse.
Right.
And they were like that from day one. We have this great video of my youngest daughter on the streets on 21st Street, just standing on our steps. She's bundled up and she's doing a monologue. She's like 3.
Right.
And she's doing a monologue of why New York is so shitty. She's like, it smells, there's garbage, there's crazy people.
Yeah.
You always have to put on 3 coats.
Yeah.
And she's like literally going through a monologue. And then my other daughter's like, LA is boring.
Right.
There's no way. She just graduated and she's like living in New York. And
well, you're speaking to me from the future then, because I have 5 and 2 girls.
Right.
The one of them pops out of our house in Brooklyn. She speaks Spanish too, because her school. She talks to the neighbors. Someone walks by. She says, "Good morning. I like your hat." I mean, it's New York.
Yep.
The other one, which is more me, everything hurts her. Everything. She sends like the truck goes by and it's like, "Dad, loud truck," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It bothered me too, actually." But I mean, and I'm just, I sense that I don't know if it's LA. that she would, but I just sense like this is too much for her.
Yeah, it's a lot, right? That's similar. That's
similar. And so what do I do?
Monologue.
What do I do? Nothing. Love them. Make more money. What do I do?
Yeah, just love them. You got it. Well, yeah. Well, you can pop out.
We can pop out, which is nice.
That's good.
That's super
That's
helpful.
a huge thing.
Yeah.
That's really a big deal.
Which I always find is a funny New York personality trait that everyone's like, you can leave, right? Like that's an extreme town. If people are saying, look, it's very important that you leave this thing.
Yeah, you can't ride. You can't stay a full year. You've got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know people like, in your building or whatever who never left.
Yeah.
And whew,
I know.
They change.
Yeah.
They become a twitchy.
Yeah.
It's a different thing.
Yeah. So your advice to me because I'm many years earlier than you, I can't adjust their personality, right?
No, they're set.
They're set.
They're set.
The earth has figured that out, or God, or
they
whatever.
Showed up that way. Yeah. No, they are who they are. You're just managing this.
Correct.
And, but there's no real answer because now my kids are older, and one's like, I'm going to LA, and the other one's like, I'm staying in New York. And
really?
My wife and I are like, where are we going to live?
Yeah.
And but we're always back and forth our whole life, so I guess we'll just continue that. But it would be nice if we were all like kind of somewhat. 5 and 2 is so great. They're so delightful.
They're very. It's a handful, as you know. Moments, a lot of moments that I question my sanity, and then they do a thing, and you're like, oh man, I'm so in love with this little thing. Yeah,
it's I have no memory of it, but I remember it being nice.
Yeah. The memory stuff is tough. Like going like, okay, so the 2-year-old, we might have to change beds for her now. When did we do that with the 5-year-old? And I have zero recollection. That's on purpose so we make more kids. Is that?
Well, your wife probably has it, right? She probably.
Yeah, but even I think sometimes I'm like, you're so full of shit right now. You're saying this with confidence, but I don't think you really know.
They're so. It's just like this fire hose of experience.
Yeah.
And you really can't keep track of. My iPhone is the only thing that really has the memories.
It's super helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of just giving me some kind of.
Someone I work with created email addresses for their children at a very young age, right?
Uh-huh.
Which sounds terrible to me, but she emails these addresses funny things they did or said. And then when they have access to the email, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would want to read everything I did at age 4.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of like documenting it.
Yeah.
Because you forget right away.
I know.
I'll even watch a joke I did about my daughter from a year ago, and I'm like, oh, I totally forgot that even existed. Yeah.
What I really like to do, and it's sucks because they're kind of like all over the place because technology was changing, and I'm not even sure like how I can where they're at. But I would interview them on their birthday.
I like that. There's a HBO thing on a documentary.
Is there?
Is it yours?
Sons of
no.
bitches. I would just sit and talk to them
and record it.
Yeah, and be like, so what are you up to? And
I love
just
that.
hearing their voices, like those voices that you hear in the house right now, which are so annoying, are going to be like, you're going to hear those in 20 years and be like, oh, listen to her.
Yeah, there's a great documentary about a father who interviews his daughter every day. Every year on her birthday. And the breadth of embarrassed to talk to the camera to I hate you, Dad, don't make me do this. And it's beautiful. It's a short film. I forget what it's called, but yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. I just saw one on Netflix about quilters. Did you see that one?
I think it was it was dished to me, but isn't it wild how your home screen and my home screen are so incredibly different?
I know. It is weird.
And I don't necessarily like that.
No,
we're all having these separate experiences.
I know. Like I see my daughters. I'm like, where are my specials?
Right. Exactly. Hello, Netflix. Yeah. I mean, that is strange that you would think Netflix would be aware. I always, when I go to Paramount Plus, which is every day, I'm always like, why is it not feeding me Daily Show?
Yeah.
How does it not? Or does it know I work there and I don't want to watch it?
Just for myself, just to like give me my own thing.
The quilters in prison, that's wild.
How do you? Yeah, there were these guys who were like really like did horrible things.
Right.
They never really said, but they were in for life or
Other than quilting.
yeah. And then now they're quilting, and they give the quilts to foster kids. They like it's a program, and
That's great.
and they make these beautiful,
Wow.
lovely things, and they're very sensitive, and it was beautiful. It was only 30 minutes long.
I was gonna say that feels like it should be a 4.5 minute video.
Yeah. I'm always conflicted, and as a comic,
Yeah.
you know, you hear about people who perform in prison sometimes and do that kind of thing. And I'm always conflicted by who am I making laugh?
Right.
What did they do? Like you're seeing these guys and they're like, he's adorable. He's got this big beard and he's making a quilt. He's doing things with colors. And you're like, oh, that's good.
Have you done a prison show?
And then you're like, what did he say? Why did he? It's like, and then you see pictures of them and they're like little babies in the beginning of their life. Yeah. And they're just this, you know, little hopeful thing. Yeah. And then they had this period, this 5-year period where something really horrible happened. And then there's still just human beings. There's still that baby. But there's such a kind of similar to you watching the guys play tennis, and you're like, oh, good for them. Yeah. Oh, son of a bitch. Get off the court.
I feel like for many years, we just saw them as criminals.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe because then we started to showcase more of their humanity.
Right.
But I wonder if we've taken it too far. I wonder if maybe because I just read this book on the death penalty, and like halfway through the book, I'm like, I really like this guy, and then I'm like, wait, he killed people who have it's like someone's son and brother and brutally destroyed, and like there's a kid there without a dad who's now screwed up, and like and I'm like, wait a sec, maybe we're painting this, you know, I don't know, as a balance.
Yeah.
Isn't Dexter one of the first ones where we were like, but we understand why he's doing this,
right?
And
exactly.
I don't know
he's
if that,
nice serial killer.
But he's a nice serial killer.
Yeah.
So
and he's clean. He cleans up after.
It's a good.
Yeah. Like because I used to watch, not watch, but that Johnny Cash album from Folsom or something. Yeah. You know, and it's like
legendary.
And he's just like, you know, talking to these, you know, I'm just like you, and it was like and I know, like, Jesus would say, "Forgive them."
Yeah,
you know.
Sure.
But I guess I'm not Jesus. This is what it is.
That's a good discussion.
It's really tricky.
It's a good discussion, and
because you can't discount the suffering of like there's other people that are out there that are,
and they also are doing a cool thing in prison, quilting for them. I mean, therapists would say it's all a part of the complete picture.
I literally I can't stop thinking about it. Yeah. It was 30 minutes long.
Well, that's an effective piece of art.
It really was. And I woke up today just thinking, if only they had quilted earlier.
Right, exactly. If
only in high school and someone had brought them to a quilting class, none of the bad things would have happened.
And I'm sure one of them thinks, strangely, if I didn't commit this heinous act, I wouldn't have been introduced to this thing that now helps others.
Yeah.
It's quilting.
Mm-hmm.
Also, couldn't they quilt like dangerous stuff? Like a knife? No, like rope or something? I don't know. To hang? I don't know. I don't know enough about. They're getting needles. They get the rope. Is it quilting?
That was the one.
That was a thing?
My daughter is really sad because, and she never watched. This is the sensitive one.
Right.
And she doesn't really like. She's usually watching like Housewives or something. And now because it was 30 minutes and she just rolled into the room, I got her to watch this. Which is so unlike.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great. But there was this one guy, little Freddie, and he was like 70 and he had a long, you know, wizard beard.
Yep.
And he gets kicked out of the program because he took a razor back to his cell because he wanted to keep working on some other craft project. But you can't take a razor to your room. No. So he got kicked out. And my daughter was so crushed. She's like, oh, Freddie.
Give him a razor.
Oh, Freddie, why didn't he? We just put the razor back. Oh, so sad.
That is like I said, they've painted humanity. They've painted these people as humans, which is great. But then it's also a harsh reality that you're not allowed to be in charge of a thing that's sharp. like this because you did a bad thing.
Right. Because you did a really bad thing.
It's tricky.
Yeah, it is really tricky. I don't know. I wish, you want to give people, you want to give people a pass and understand. And, even on small things like your tennis or like fighting on the courts or like trying to like, move up and board a plane and you see these people jockeying in front of you. There is a constant earthly balance of trying to give them a pass and let it be and elbowing them and saying, you're in group 6.
Well, and also like sticking up and fighting for yourself is important.
Right.
Right. So this is the balance too.
Yeah.
I do think it helps to I feel like I had, a lot of the boxes were checked needed in my life to create like a solid person, like parents that loved me and 2 parents and like dad was employed and we had a house.
Right.
So I tend to think like, well, I don't know how I would end up if I was in a situation that this person was in.
Right.
But that's giving him enough credit that the asshole who's trying to board in group 1, who's really in group 6, maybe had a bad childhood. Maybe he had a great childhood. And therefore he deserves me to confront them.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know. But I do think all of us in the whole world would be helpful to go like, we don't know what they have, what they've seen or what they've been through.
Yeah.
But also F that too.
Yeah, F that too, right. That's why there's rules.
Yeah, exactly. Because somebody will always take advantage and
yeah, exactly. That's why there's laws and things, social contracts, and because people don't know how to act. Nobody really knows how to act regardless of where they came from.
And COVID made that so much worse, right?
Yeah.
Eye contact's down, reckless driving's up.
Yeah.
That's kind of tapered. No one was ever charting eye contact. But I swear to God, I go to businesses now and I can't get anybody to just look me in the eye.
Is that weird?
I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Is there something wrong with my eyes or something?
They were a little weird. So that one on my right, your left.
Yeah.
Really kind of doing its own thing. The driving thing is completely bonkers. How people are rewriting what happened. I just was listening to a very prominent podcast, and they're just like, "Yeah, well, we were right the whole time.
Right?
It wasn't. It's like, what about the millions of people who died? What about that? No, the vaccines didn't work. What about all the old people who didn't take it and are dead, and the old people who took it and survived? Like, it's just everybody just paints their own story of what happened."
It bothers me that people say things with so much confidence when that isn't the case. I mean, obviously, this goes all the way up to our current administration, but it's okay to say that was a difficult, complicated time. Some things were right, some things were wrong. No?
Yeah, like
no, but maybe no one downloads that podcast.
Nobody, right? Exactly, right.
Yeah, right.
That's not that exciting to be like, you know what? It was weird and we didn't see it coming, and everyone did their best and did it in different ways. And these leaders were just faced with, I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to keep this open. Best shot.
Like the creation of that vaccine in such a short period of time was, in my opinion, a scientific marvel. Also, the pharmaceuticals made hundreds of billions of dollars. Let's talk about both of that.
Right.
I don't know. You can't.
No.
Let's talk about the prisoner's heinous crime and also the beautiful quilt that he made.
Right. Yeah. No, there's no subtlety. And I think that lashing out, there's a lot of people, and I understand it, that did not want to, they're very uneasy sitting with the idea that this just happened.
Yeah.
Rather than, that person did it.
Yeah.
Like, they need the certitude of, no, somebody must have done this.
Yeah.
And it was for a reason, because the reality of that, this thing happened and it was out of everyone's control is too terrifying.
Yeah.
And you can act like big macho and whatever, but you were scared.
Well, I think this is the birth of conspiracy, we are scared. It is complicated, and a very simple, easy conclusion is it's easier to wrap our head around.
Right.
It's like you said the word scared, which I love. I think all of this anxiety, conspiracy, I think it comes from fear. And that's okay, everybody. I'm scared too.
That's right.
All listeners, I'm scared too.
Right.
I don't know the answer.
No, exactly.
But either does this person that you're listening to who's saying it with certainty.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just this. Yeah, they could just say it and put it in. And I get it. It makes you feel better. It makes you feel like, okay, I've figured it out.
Yeah.
I've got control.
I can move on now to the things I've got to do because we know that was whatever it was.
Yeah. The reality is no one's in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear some of these conspiracies and you're like, that is incredibly elaborate. You think the government knows how to pull all that off? I don't know.
How many people have to be involved to make this a thing?
Like, get to know your local elected official. They're not exceptional at all. They're not like the people in the government are just like you guys. They're leaking. They're putting the wrong person on a group text just like we do.
Right. Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Do you like people?
That answer has evolved over time.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people are good people. That's not what you asked.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. And I give almost everybody the benefit of the doubt, but I find my natural instinct isn't to reach out to people.
Mm-hmm.
But I always feel good when I do.
Right.
So I don't know how to answer your question.
Mm-hmm. When you get in an elevator,
I talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I usually am happy with the interaction.
And they usually 9 times out of 10 like that you talk to them.
I think so.
Yeah.
And it might even be as simple as like, ooh, it's cold.
Right.
Something dumb like that.
Yeah. How was your trip?
Yeah. And my daughter will say, Dad, can you not talk to the people this time? And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I did, but that's what my dad did.
Right. Exactly.
And
that's okay. You're supposed to do that.
But that could just be Midwest in me.
Yeah. No, that's human.
That's human. So that means I like people.
Yeah. You haven't had your humanity driven out of you.
Okay, good.
Right.
This is good. Actually, this is helpful. So I like people.
Yeah.
Right.
And what I'm really just delighting in is your daughter's horror over that.
Yeah.
Outgoing personality of yours is just going to increase.
I'm sure.
When they're like teenagers, like
yes.
early teens, you saying things is just going to make them
terrifying.
Oh my God, Dad, why? Especially when you're bombing with the public. when you're out there doing bits,
which does happen.
Yeah,
it does happen.
So constantly.
God, there was a birthday party I went to recently, and I was in charge of both kids, and I went to the party, and I was trying to connect with these parents. And I biked home and I was like, I bombed. I mean, I just did not, no one thought it was funny. Nobody even liked me. I mean, it was like, that was a bomb social situation.
Yeah, they were not into me at all.
Yeah.
What does Jon Stewart smell like?
Oh yeah. I don't know what he smells like. He doesn't smell bad. He is a man of habit. He's usually kind of wears a similar outfit. He's got boots on, which I like. He's here to work.
Yep.
And very, I'm sure you've interacted with Jon many times. I don't know, but very, very respectful, kind, eye contact, friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't say I've ever really been super close to smell him, but I'll try and get back to you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks to our friends at Last Bottle Wines for sponsoring today's show. They've got one amazing wine each day. No subscription, just killer deals up to 80% off. Check them out at lastbottlewines.com and use the code PAPA for an extra 10% off your next order. This is great. I love wine. I really enjoy it. I enjoy researching it. I enjoy finding stuff out about it and then ordering it and having come into my house. It's much better than going to the store and just like looking and then the guy comes over, can I help you? And you're like, no, I got it. And you really don't. And then you just look at the prices and then you just grab something and you hope it works. These guys are great. They taste through hundreds of bottles every month to find ones worth putting on your radar. So even if you don't know much about wine, you're in good hands. It's like having a sommelier friend with great taste and zero ego. It's great. They sent me a bunch of wines, and it's there's nothing better than when, if you can get your own podcast, if you have them deliver they showed up the same way that you would if you ordered. And it's just nice to know, like, okay, we've got this, and I can just pop this open. It's not outrageously priced. And we're going to have a good, solid bottle of wine. It's just a wonderful thing that you can have in your own home. For Breaking Bread listeners, there's a little bonus. You can use the code PAPA, P-A-P-A, at checkout to get 10% off your next order. That's lastbottlewines.com, code PAPA, P-A-P-A. Based out of Napa, hand-picked wines. What more do you need? You don't even have to join. Just order it. Thank you, Last Bottle. We would like to thank the good people at Magic Mind for sponsoring today's program as well. Very good product. If you're looking for mental clarity, if you're looking for a boost, a caffeine boost, if you're looking for feeling good in a small single shot format, Magic Mind is perfect for you. They have all these different, you can take this personal quiz, you take this personal test, it's a little quiz, you tell them what you're looking, what you're lacking, and they come back and tell you what you should try. I have been using this one called Free. I thought I had enough caffeine in my life, but I want mental clarity. I still feel like maybe I'm dragging. And this one, Free, is 0 caffeine, 0 sugar, has a 12-ingredient stack of adaptogens, vitamins, antioxidants. You choose Free if you want a clear focus without caffeine. Now, there's also other ones that are caffeine that kind of hit you in a more absorption rate, a slower absorption rate than coffee. So it kind of is like a slow burn. Like I said, there's Free, there's Original, there's Max. Max is caffeine related, 165 milligrams. Whatever you need that's going to get you through the day and have you more energetic, more clarity. You just take one shot of Magic Mind and you're rolling. It's fun to take the quiz, lets you know exactly what you kind of look at yourself for a second and you realize this is what you need. And right now, Magic Mind is doing a limited time launch offer. So get 60% off the Magic Mind offer with our link and code, magicmind.com/breakingbread60 and code breakingbread60. Get 60% off the Magic Mind offer with our link and code. That's magicmind.com/breakingbread60 and code breakingbread60. That's breakingbread60. You've had a fun life. You have this fun tennis career.
That's right.
And then you have comedy.
Yep.
So even though you're a grown up with children and stuff, you're still a child in some regards. You have a little bit of a childlike view of the world.
Okay.
Chicken fingers or mac and cheese?
I think mac and cheese always delivers. It always delivers.
Yeah.
You know, and also stop putting lobster in it. Stop with the truffle. Mac and cheese is delicious and excellent and works in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing better when the kids have left their, when you're cleaning up and the mac and cheese is just hardened a little bit.
Yeah.
And you got a big clump of mac and cheese.
Isn't it wild how often as a parent I eat old food standing up? You're like, it's like, one of the things I love about New York is I bike my kids to school every day. It's this big cargo bike and it's like parents everywhere biking their kids. I love this and they love it. And
it's great.
Any other part of the country, you're in the car, someone's arguing about what song is on. And I just love that we're like sharing this really simple mode of transportation together.
Yeah.
But it requires physical ability. And so I can't like not eat and then take these kids to school. So I'm always just finishing what they didn't eat. And it's disgusting. It's terrible. Does that still happen with like teenagers and stuff?
No.
No, because they'll finish their meal or they won't have a meal.
Yeah, no. And for some reason, it's not as appealing. Like, it's fun to see mac and cheese and chicken fingers. Like,
yeah.
I always laughed at how when you're cleaning up and you're eating standing up, you're in the process of throwing it in the garbage.
Correct.
And you're like, it's in one second it's in the garbage, but it's actually going to go in my body instead.
Well, I'm also like, she's got snot on her nose, wipe it. And then like, I'm like so concerned with her germs. And then I just take her spoon and just like, and non-parents right now are like, what is wrong with you guys? But maybe you'll be there someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is the best. Your tennis.
That's right.
At what age, and just for our listeners, in case I don't say it in the intro, you're a professional tennis player. And,
That's right.
The title of your book is Lucky Loser.
That's right.
Because you were, is it fair to say, just professional?
Yeah, yes, and you can use any description you want. I mean, I would say in the baseball terminology where there's single A, double A, triple A.
Pro.
I think pro, right?
Yeah.
I would say I was in the double A range.
Right.
So, and I got a few at-bats in triple A.
Right.
And I almost got an at-bat in the majors, but I lost in triple A. So, that distinction is tricky. I will tell you this. No one in my position retires. You quit.
Right.
Right?
Right.
People who win Grand Slams retire.
Yeah.
People who have money in the bank retire.
Right.
I quit.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is such a mind-bending place to be.
Yes.
Because you're so good for so long.
Right.
When did you realize as a child, like, I'm really good. Like, I'm beating everybody around me.
Yeah, I mean, I described some of that in the book. Like we had so many trophies that my parents had to take out a storage unit. And that's not hyperbole. Like it was like I entered it and I won it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you play second and then that kid that you lost to, you would watch was like 2 in the country or what,
right.
It was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
So it wasn't until really high level of college and I played University of Illinois and we were number 1 in the country that I really met and connected with all these other little freaks of nature that were like, I'm the best in the state of Washington, or actually, I'm the best in the state of Florida. And it was like, oh, this is a different level. I played in Michigan. It's not, traditionally an amazing tennis state, mostly because of weather.
Right.
But yeah, you figured it out pretty early on that.
When's the first time you hold a racket?
I first hold a racket at age 4, and I remember I talk about it in the book. It was Kosta family tennis. My family would take us down to this little club, and we would play tennis. And I remember all the other siblings like seemed so complicated to them. My dad would say, "Christy, just serve it this way," and then I would just serve it that way, and then Christy would take a year to figure that out.
Right.
So I had some ability for that. As you climb up, you realize ability is like 20%, 30%. You need work ethic, perseverance, dedication. Also a delusional aspect that we all need as comics.
Sure.
Which is like you believe that you can do this thing when I think the universe is telling you you can't.
Yeah. Nonstop delusional belief in yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I quit tennis, I made an inventory, and this is in the book, of what I had at the time in my tennis career, how many ATP points I had, how much money I had. And the biggest factor in why I quit was self-belief. I didn't have the self-belief at that point.
Right.
And that's
Had you? And lost it?
Yeah, I had it.
Right.
Or I believed I had it, and then you travel the world competing at this level, and you see some Russian kid who has been playing tennis by, tying a string between 2 trees on a dirt parking lot, and you go, he wants it more than me.
Right.
100%.
Right. That's got to be a weird. How can you generalize how long a period that is? Because you think you're
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
the best in the world.
Yeah.
Like, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and then it starts to crack a little.
It starts to crack. I mean, I would say I played full-time professionally 2.5 years. And after the first year, when you really, and I played summers before that, so I have a lot of different pro tennis experience, but hardcore full-time 2.5 years. After that first year, you should have an idea of where you stand.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the 900s, thousands in the world.
Right.
And it was like, oh, some of these guys that I saw this year just have an incredibly different level of weapon than what I have.
Physically?
Yeah, I mean, yes, yeah, because
Yeah.
you can't see the mental as much.
Yeah.
But I remember being on practice courts and I would be like, what is that giant sound I keep hearing? And then you go over and it's like this guy hitting a serve who a year later I'm watching in the round of 16 of the French Open, you know, and you're like, oh, he just goes straight up. In some ways it's like comedy and that like there are some open micers that are just so good before you know it, you're watching their special.
Yeah.
You know, that does happen occasionally.
Sure.
Yeah, and there's a lot of sadness associated with realizing you're not going to make it.
Yeah, I mean, your whole life
Yeah.
has been, right? Your
Yeah.
whole life,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, and I wasn't one of these kids that like every single thing was tennis, but as a young adult, that was the case. You know,
Yeah.
I had a nice balanced childhood to the detriment of my tennis, I'm sure. I tell my parents all the time, why weren't you more assholes? Maybe I'd be better.
Right.
You know, watch Richard Williams. Why didn't you do that? But
do you think if there
I think I would have been better and I would have been more messed up.
So you think physically you had you had the bones.
Yeah, I think physically I was there. I did not have the technical in my opinion where I lacked early on was technical and instruction. So I think there's physical, I think there's mental, which I think I probably had. I had the competitive spirit. But I didn't really figure out how to volley or come to net or finish a point till I got to college. At that point, I was 19 years old. It's too late.
It's too late.
Yeah. No, this past. Yeah.
So early.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but man, what a difficult spot because now, like as a parent, you know, you see your kids, and even if they have aptitude, you're like, are we really gonna go all in and like
I know
drop everything in our life so we can get them like the instruction? Like, you really have to have something has to intervene where they really believe as much as your kid believes like that this is possible.
Yeah, and that's a complicated discussion amongst the family. I mean, even now with my 5-year-old, I'm like, do we continue piano lessons? I don't even know if she likes it.
Right.
But then it's like, wait, she's 5. She might get good at it and like it.
Yeah.
And, you know, yes, my parents did not remortgage the house so I could have a bigger forehand. But the parents
Which happens a lot.
It does happen. And parents that do that kid usually does have a bigger forehand, like for sure.
Sure.
But at what cost?
How many siblings did you have?
I'm the youngest of 4.
4.
And
so
tremendous tennis career, collegiate, you know, tennis player, University of Illinois, Big Ten champion, 4-time Big Ten champion. Went on to play pro tennis. But yeah, when we're really like looking at the difference, you know, if we would have spent all summer working on my forehand with a high level technical coach, that would have helped me. But I don't know. Then I also wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right, exactly. With a box of cookies.
I was going to ask, what are these?
These are cookies.
Oh, great.
This is Vesuvio Bakery on Prince Street.
Okay, I was going to ask you, where do you get your bread?
They're so good.
Okay, great.
They're really good. But I came in and I was like, I'm just going to give him a piece of bread. These cookies look insane.
My family will devour those, so thank you for that.
They'll be really good.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an interesting thing. We watched, what was the name of it? The movie about showgirls with
was it the one that was nominated recently?
Really a dad moment.
Yeah.
It was nominated.
Was it the Pamela Anderson one?
Anderson. Okay. And my wife was a dancer.
Okay.
She did like shows like that when she was young. And it's similar to an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
It's like even in the best case scenario for a football player, you're done at a pretty young age.
Yeah.
I mean, the freaks can go like Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But I think the average career in NFL is like 3 years.
Oh yeah,
it's
and like
really
80% of them get diabetes after that. You know, because it's like what they're eating and then exactly, yeah.
And so it's like even in the best case scenario of being an athlete, you know, you can of course make a lot of money and do whatever, and in the if you're super successful, but the path is like. Watching these showgirls, it was like it's coming to an end.
Yeah,
you literally can't. You're not a kid anymore. So it's such a blessing that you found comedy, that you actually were able to like,
Yeah.
you can ride this and you could be 70 and be writing your 5th book. And really, I mean, it really is a blessing.
Yeah. It's a blessing in that I found something else, you mean?
Yeah.
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 I wholeheartely agree with you. And I think the point the book is trying to make is all of the things I learned in tennis set me up to be successful in this next thing.
Yeah.
As long as I didn't just see my whole life as a defeated purpose, which can happen to athletes.
Sure.
I didn't make it. I didn't win the thing.
Right.
And part of the reason that I was able to lose in tennis, fail in tennis, be a loser in tennis, whatever you want to call it, and transition into comedy was because I had like balanced parents that were like, get the education. Now, it's also part of the reason why I didn't win a Grand Slam. So I don't know. It's like painting the quilter who killed a guy is a real person. It's like my good parents helped me understand that there's more to life than this thing.
Right.
But also, if they would have been more one-dimensional, maybe I would have been a millionaire.
Yeah. Yeah. But in the totality of
Correct.
life,
Correct.
it's like it really gave you, because, you know, we know a lot of people in comedy who are so funny, like crazy, crazy touched funny.
Yeah.
You can't make a phone call.
No.
Or can't organize their life.
Or can't show up, or can't figure out time changes.
Right.
It's like, what? Well, then tennis is like, I mean, it was outrageous the amount of skill sets you would see that then would just couldn't get their life together.
Right.
That's very common.
Yeah.
I'm curious what your answer is to this, but when young comics ask me for advice, I always just say, pick a path. Maybe it's TV, maybe it's writing, maybe it's performing. Pick a path and go hard at it.
Yeah.
And know that you might do that path, and it might lead you to a different situation. Because that's kind of what has appeased me. I'm going tennis, I'm going hard, it's all in. Oh my God, when I really have a moment, I realize all these things I've learned. I love comedy. I've always written comedy. I've always kept joke journals, even at the age of 8.
Yeah.
So all those things I learned at this path are going to help me for this path. What do you tell comics? Or do you don't talk to young comics?
Yeah, I don't really. Our producer, Danny, over there was asking me some advice, and I just told him to shut his face.
Shut up, Danny.
It's you. First, the first thing, which I don't really say actually, but you know whether you have to have the delusion and the love is so intense that nothing's going to stop you. Yeah. Like it literally, and it's not like this arduous, I'm gonna fight through this. It literally is just this kind of quiet whimsy of, I'm doing this. Like, and it doesn't, like if you have question about it, of like, and then I can do something. The whole thing about like if you have a plan B, then you're in trouble. Yeah, right. It's that like you really, really, truly need that to find your way in this weird business.
I thought, and this is revealed in the book, but I thought that I loved tennis. And I believe that the realization I came to when I quit was that I loved playing tennis with my family. That's what I was kind of chasing. Right. And when I went to college, the Illinois team became a new family, which was as equally fun and intoxicating and competing together. Yeah. But as a little guy, the youngest of 4, sitting on the back of my mom's bike or next to my dad's car, we would go to this club and we would play as a family. And I was like finally part of the group. And I loved that. Yeah. And so then being good at tennis was, you know, pat on the back. And finally mom and dad were paying attention to me because there's 4 kids. They weren't paying attention to anybody. Yeah. So when I was really faced with this crossroads of like, do you really want to keep going hard with tennis? And I realized, what a lonely existence it is. It's very similar to road comedy. Right. Very similar. Yeah. And I said, no, I don't want to keep doing it. I'm not like having fun playing tennis. I'm not playing tennis with anybody. I'm playing with me. That's it. Yeah. And other people that are trying to humiliate me. It's literally their job is to make me look stupid.
Yeah. Where is everybody? Where are my friends? We do a thing on this program called An Uncomfortable Moment.
Okay.
And
Do I have to have it
we're
prepared?
No.
Okay.
We're talking about your journey and where you're at now, and you seem very happy and well adjusted.
Thank you.
I guess I'll just show it. We have researchers just to deep dive into what you've been up to lately.
Okay.
And I didn't think you would go this way, but
that is an uncomfortable moment.
You want to explain this? I figured you would be someone who would fight pickleball.
Yeah. This is photoshopped. Did somebody make this? Possibly. Okay.
I don't
so
think
this
so.
is me playing pickleball.
Real.
And I have strong opinions on pickleball. But I will say, and I'll share, that's a picture of me playing pickleball. It looks like my face has been photoshopped on that. Yeah.
I think it's pretty real.
Nice legs. Yeah. How about can I share a quick tidbit?
Please.
Okay. So we were in Scottsdale, my wife and I, at this amazing resort, just celebrating her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And there was pickleball courts and there was tennis courts. And I can't play tennis with my wife because we're such different levels. It doesn't, it's not really fun.
Yeah.
But I was like, let's try both today, right? So I was like, let's sign us up for an hour of pickleball, sign us up for an hour of tennis. We get to the pickleball first. Not only are we able to play, we're different levels of pickleball, but you can play.
Yeah.
Like you just immediately can play.
Uh-huh.
Then this other guy over there who's got Miller Lite in his hand says, come over, play with us. So now we're playing doubles pickleball. We're meeting new people. We're talking. My wife and I are actually competing with and against. It's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Even though I don't have any respect for the game. Then our hour's up and we go play tennis. And we're playing tennis. And as I'm helping her and we're talking, these old people come over and they say, hey, you guys are talking too loud.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, that's the difference in those two games.
Right.
Right. I don't love the complexities of pickleball, if there are any, but it was a community and it was fun.
Right.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Just having a sweat, and we're outside, and we met a new guy. He brought us, invited to his house that night. And that tennis side, even though it is like, I'll steal this from Andre Agassi, tennis is the Mount Everest of racket sports.
Uh-huh.
It was you're being too loud.
Yeah.
It's
a little stuffy.
It's stuffy. And that is a problem for the sport. And that is a huge lesson that tennis should try to learn from pickleball.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways.
Well, everyone I know in my life who plays pickleball has been injured.
Oh, yeah. That's very common.
Achilles, elbows, wrists. I mean, they're all
back. You're bending down a lot. Yeah.
They're all a wreck.
Yeah.
But they love it. They don't stop.
It is. Well, and it's a huge testament to connection as with humans.
Right.
And community.
Right.
Pickleball is a group activity.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah, I guess so.
I know.
It sounds stupid
It
when
is
you hear
stupid.
it. Like when you talk about the guy with serving and that sound.
Yeah.
And then you hear pickleball.
It kind of feels
pong,
like
pong,
it kind of
pong,
feels
pong.
like Trump's military parade to me. It's like we got Danny somehow. It kind of feels pickleball is Trump's military. Like it doesn't need that sound.
Right.
It can just exist on its own.
Yeah.
The military doesn't need a parade.
Right.
It can be strong and powerful without the parade.
Yeah. You mentioned in the book that tennis has a lot of good sounds to it.
That's true. I think it's one of the best sounding sports.
Yeah. Which I really liked. There's all those beautiful sounds around tennis. What are your favorite sounds around the house?
One of my more favorite audio experiences in my house is how my wife wants to talk to me when I'm washing dishes and I can hear nothing. Does this happen to everybody?
It happens.
I mean,
to me.
why? You know the existence that I have right now with noise, and I look at her, and if she's washing dishes, I don't ask her stuff.
This happens
all the time. Yeah, and she'll go, but I told you about the birthday party, and I'm like, was I washing dishes?
And then you get in my head, I'll go. Sometimes I'll be like, I'll hear the murmur. I'll hear and you want my everything? And sometimes I pretend like I just don't hear any of it.
Correct.
And just keep doing it.
Somebody you love and respect, you're just totally blocking out. I know, it's terrible.
Because the other alternative is what?
Yeah.
And I can't hear.
Yeah.
My wife does it also around, because we live in a house rather
Amazing.
than an apartment.
Yeah.
And she'll be on another floor in the back corner, and I'll be in the utility room off the garage. Do you want to watch me?
It's like literally no chance. I know.
What?
So that isn't a sound I love, but it's a sound that exists. I'm still at the point as a parent where my kids, when I open the door, scream with excitement to see me.
That's great.
And that's great.
That is really great.
That is a truly wonderful thing to think.
Yeah.
There is anybody on this planet, even for a short period of time, that is excited I exist.
Yeah, it is pretty great.
That's nice.
Yeah, and you don't have to replace it with a dog yet.
Right.
Oh, your grandfather.
Yeah. Thanks for reading it.
Giving CPR to your grandfather.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just in Chicago O'Hare watching them work on a guy
Really?
who had a heart attack, and they, for like 25 minutes, they were trying to revive this guy.
That's intense.
It was intense, and didn't look like they won.
What was it? Paramedics doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was like a TSA meeting. There were so many
Right.
people around, but they were
Right.
kind of blocking what was how you just saw.
That's giving the TSA a lot of credit that
Yeah.
they have meetings. Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't in Newark, and so you had a resuscitating incident with your grandfather.
Yeah. It's
That sounds intense.
it's in the chapter titled "Grandpa's Probably Dead." But yeah, I mean, he had passed away in his sleep, and when you call 911,
They tell you.
they tell you to try to resuscitate, which is beautiful and wonderful. And the calm demeanor that they have on the phone is, I mean, it's like air traffic controller stuff.
Right.
It's like when Sullenberger's like, "We're landing in the Hudson," and they're like, "Copy that, landing in the Hudson." It's like, what? She's like, put your hands on his heart, find his chest cavity, and they're walking you through it. We did not resuscitate him. I know through taking a CPR class now as an adult because of kids,
Yeah.
you never stop resuscitating until paramedics show up. That's something. So that's something we all need to learn. Like never, because if there's ever a thin thread chance that they can survive, it's you pressing on the heart.
Right.
So never stops. That's probably what you were experiencing, unless paramedics were doing it.
They were. It was paramedics.
Wow, amazing.
And they were like going hard, and then when it's went on for such a long time, and then they put him on the gurney, lifted it up, and the woman who was in charge said, "Hold," and they were as they're wheeling, they stopped, they shocked him, and then back on him, and a guy as they were wheeling him was still pumping.
Wow.
I mean, they did not stop.
I mean, that's mad respect to the paramedics.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah.
That is wild. Yeah, I mean, I say this in the book. I'm very lucky with the hierarchy of deaths that have happened in my family. The old people have died ahead of the young people.
Yeah.
Is that the way to say it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this wasn't a tragic death, but giving my grandfather CPR with my father.
Yeah.
That's a memory I won't forget.
No.
That's a memory I won't forget. And then
was it when you kind of realized it, right? I think you said something about your dad outside.
Oh yeah, there was a moment where my mom was walking the dogs when her father passed.
Right.
And my dad immediately ran out to the front to intercept my mom so she saw the ambulance. And as a child, I was 18, seeing my dad break the news to my mom that her father was dead is wild. And it was done with respect and kindness, and that
it's
obviously, but it sticks with you.
Oh man, they're so heavy.
Yeah. What's coming to mind for you right now? Had you seen your parents in a way like that, or do you think your kids have seen you like that?
No, I was just thinking I didn't have that hierarchy.
Right.
I had lots of like young people like early on, and then older people.
That is just absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, it is terrifying. And I remember like showing up at the first old person funeral. Like I had a couple of young, like friends kind of thing. And I remember showing up at the old person funeral, like, what's the big deal?
Dude, old people funeral is fun.
Yeah.
Did you people getting drunk as like an accordion player? It's like, no, that is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. He did great.
Yeah.
We would love to have him around, but man, he nailed it.
No, I completely agree. And I don't say that with any Like, I am so terrified that that's going to change in my life because it's like, that's the way life is supposed to go.
Yeah.
And what a privilege to even experience that. And then you turn on the news, you see like Gaza, and you see, it's just like, I can't even wrap my head around this shit.
No, I know. It's heavy. Snickers or Butterfinger?
I love Butterfinger, but there is a whole thing you got to do with the teeth after. I mean, I love Butterfinger.
Social situation, you have something like a Butterfinger in your teeth. Do you wait until you go to the restroom, or do you just?
Oh, dude,
digging?
I'm probably one of those diggers.
I dig too.
I know.
Big whole hand. Like I can't. I don't want to get up and walk away.
I think Butterfingers could use some publicity help. I haven't seen a Butterfingers in a while.
The people who don't. Here's my thing.
Yeah.
And this will probably upset people more than any talk about Trump. The people who don't respect Butterfingers don't really know Butterfingers.
Right. I like that. I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, educate yourself.
But I'm not sure if I could get a Butterfingers around the corner. Could I?
Yes.
I could.
They're
100%.
They're there.
All right. Okay.
For sure. For sure.
Okay.
And at this time of year in New York, they're going to be a little softer.
Oh yeah,
normal.
for sure. Yeah.
Are you raising your kids with sugar, with no sugar? Are you you're a healthy individual?
I'm a label reader.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a label reader. I think one of the biggest atrocities that's been done to this country is to trick people into thinking that yogurt isn't ice cream. I mean, what? Some of this yogurt is worse than ice cream. And by the way, if it says 22 grams of added sugar, and then you look up and it's like the serving is like a third of a cup, it's like there's so much sugar in this stuff.
Yeah.
So we're aware of sugar.
Yeah.
I love sugar.
Yeah.
I'm an ice cream every night guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every night. I think Ben and Jerry's crushes. I think any of their flavors are great. Yeah. When I was performing at the Vermont Comedy Club in Burlington, I went to the Ben and Jerry's and did a tour.
Original. Oh,
what's wrong with me? I'm like the only guy there.
It's amazing.
And
isn't it funny when you go do those kind of things and you're like, oh, there's gonna be a line. I'm gonna have to get there early, and you get there and you're the only one.
Only one there. Ben and Jerry's, by the way, is packed, but I was the only solo man there. You know what I mean?
By himself.
First by himself. But we pay attention to sugar. I try to go healthy.
Favorite Ben and Jerry?
They told me that their number one seller was
Cherry Garcia.
That was in the top 3. And I think number 2 was the strawberry shortcake one. I was like, get that out of my face.
Yeah, what
My favorite Ben and Jerry's is milk and cookies.
Milk and
hands
cookies.
down. Not even up for debate. What's your favorite?
It's so funny. Just hearing milk and cookies, I can't not hear Bernie Mac.
What does he have a bit about it?
He's got this insanely from the Kings of Comedy.
Yeah.
You should look it up.
Okay.
It's one of the best stand-up hits of all time. About he takes in his niece and nephew, because his sister's on drugs, and how badass the kids are, and they kind of and the one girl's just like milk and cookies. Even Bernie Mac imitating a little girl going milk and cookies.
Right. He is a feat to watch. YouTube will always put a smile on my face.
So powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful. Yeah. I just saw that this kombucha that we've been drinking for a year.
Yeah. Be careful.
I had no idea it was 16 grams of added sugar.
Yeah. No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I make kombucha.
You do,
and I should have a kombucha pod. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Drinking kombucha, and that's a good idea.
Yeah.
No, but it's really fascinating. I mean, the SCOBY, the symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast that is the living, it's like bread, right?
Sourdough bread.
Same shit. Okay, exactly. Right. In fact, you know what I read? I read that if you have kombucha and sourdough in the same kitchen, that they'll cross-contaminate each other.
Yeah.
How the hell does that happen?
Yeah, it's in
they
the
talk
around. Yeast is in the air.
Whoa.
Yeah, I have 2 starters.
Yeah.
And I keep them separate because I don't want them to contaminate.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
And amazing, and makes me feel like we
Yeah.
are just guests on this universe. But it eats sugar.
Right.
The SCOBY eats the sugar. So when you actually bottle your kombucha, it has very little sugar in it. Very little. It's been eaten by this thing. That's why there's the mother and it grows its little child or whatever they call it.
Same with sourdough bread.
Same.
Sourdough bread is better for you because it breaks down its own sugars.
It's living. Yeah, it's a living. There's a great sign as you drive up on the highway across Williamsburg, and it just says, "Eat real food, bro." And I'm like, yeah, eat like real stuff.
It's really that simple.
But yeah, the kombucha is a trick. It's the yogurt, the kombucha company and the yogurt companies conspire.
Yeah.
There's a lot of added sugar.
Yeah.
And this is if we trust the labels.
Is there?
Do we?
Is there a good label? Yeah. Well, yes.
You
know what? Yes. At a certain point, you have to say yes.
Yeah.
You have to trust somebody
you do.
who's done
It's true.
studies and done something.
Yeah.
You're
right. You're right.
Cannot trust everything.
I know you're
in the
true.
world.
Not everything because it never ends.
Is there a good kombucha that you store?
I think one of those synergy. A lot of the synergy has a lot of added, but there is a flavor that is only like 4 or 5.
Right.
And I think that's probably a shelving thing, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Last long. I don't know.
Or just.
But I would just encourage anybody to buy their kombucha to look at the sugars. It's really important.
I know.
Yeah.
We were really like in shock. We were at the beach the other day.
That's annoying.
And we were just like, wait, what?
You feel like you've been tricked.
Yeah.
You feel like you've been tricked. Your whole life is like they've been doing a con on you.
I'm like, yeah, just thinking I'm doing good things for my gut and doing all right. Son of a bitch.
I know.
Did you put a tennis racket in your kids' hands?
Unsuccessfully. I'm still holding out. I took my 5-year-old to a tennis court many times, and she sits in the corner, grabs the leaves, and forms like a circle where she pretends to hold court. Pun intended. It doesn't interest her. I'm more encouraged with the 2-year-old.
Right.
I went downstairs the other day. She was casually tossing the ball against the wall. That's good.
Yeah.
I didn't make her do that.
Yeah.
That's good. So we'll see.
Oh, interesting.
I would love for them to play tennis. Young people problem solving alone. With no real stakes. It's not like life or death. It's just a sport.
Yeah.
I think is very beneficial.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't think that, I don't need them to be at such a high level.
Right.
There can be a lot of trauma associated with that type of dedication to something competitive.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that you watch some of the pros like deal with mental stuff and like it's.
Kids getting restraining orders out on their parents and stuff.
Right.
I mean, that's like not unheard of.
Oh my
It's
God.
crazy. Yeah.
My producer wanted me to ask you this question. It was very important to him. Are you, and you just be honest.
Oh, this is a good one.
Because I know you've got a lot of people in your life, but are you or are you not a good contact to get us tickets to the U.S. Open?
It sounds like it definitely came from the producer and not you, Tom.
Yeah. I'm trying to get more into tennis.
Yeah. Well, I would say this. I can be helpful and I can give you some good advice, but I can't I'm not the procurer of tickets.
Right.
The first week of the U.S. Open, they need people in the good seats. Okay. It's the number one spectator sport from attendance. If you add up the 14 days, in the country, period.
Wow.
I mean, so many people go. But if Tom Papa reaches out to the U.S. Open or your people and says, any tickets available for the first week, would love to tweet about you're in.
Oh, really?
You're in. Now, second week, no chance. Well, maybe Tom Papa could.
Yeah.
But Michael Costa can't.
Yeah. And my producer probably first week is not even.
I think
he's going to need me.
He's probably going to need you.
Right.
He's probably going to need you.
Right. But you could see some great tennis in the first round.
Oh my God. The first week is amazing. You see up close, go to court 12, go to court 13. I'm sitting as close to you as this player who I've never heard of. I Google it. There's 12 in the world.
Wow.
It's amazing. So the U.S. Open is the biggest problem with the U.S. Open is getting home. They have issues getting home, but if you can take the train, do the subway.
Right.
But it's a fantastic live event, and I believe the greatest sport that exists.
Right. Well, that's great.
So sorry to your producer, I can't be more helpful.
Yeah, and I'm kind of glad you didn't help him.
Yeah.
This was fantastic.
Thanks,
Thank you
Tom.
for coming.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, the
Thanks
book
for
is great.
Thank you.
I haven't gotten through all of it, but it's really, you're a good writer. Like,
Thank
it's
you.
really fun to read.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really great. And I am trying to get more into tennis. I keep putting on the tennis channel.
Yeah.
And I really like Paulina.
Yeah, Jasmine Paulina. The Paulini.
She looks like a lot of my cousins.
She's tiny and great.
Yeah.
Coming up in the book, chapter 10, I lose very early in the Netherlands, and I have 6 days to kill, and I visit a prostitute in Amsterdam.
So right, the red light.
Yeah, red light. So you have that to look forward to.
Yeah, I know. I almost jumped to it just to see, is it?
It's incredibly embarrassing, and I couldn't. I was so nervous. And was carrying my rackets with me. I mean, it's a very silly story. I always share it because I want anybody, especially a young person, to associate and understand that everybody has these incredibly embarrassing sexual encounters, and it's okay.
I did. There was one line in it that I wrote down from the beginning of that chapter. Of you said something like, "Prostitutes was never my thing."
I hope I wrote that on purpose.
Yeah, it just makes me laugh. Like, there's other people. Oh, can I just mention one joke that I really love of yours?
Yes.
Because this is like a dad anxiety kind of a thing. I think when you say that you've got a 5 o'clock. You've got a 5 o'clock flight coming up in 2 weeks.
Yes.
And you're already
nervous about
filled with anxiety about it. I get the same
way. You can
way.
connect, yeah.
Yeah, if it's an early flight with a rental car return.
Oh God. Those are like, they take time. I mean, when I book those flights, I'll sit on my couch and I'll go, are we really doing this? Because it's like, you know what this means.
It's a nightmare. Yeah, it's one of the worst things you can do in the world.
I always loved your joke and I remember watching you workshop it. Your wife should be having an affair with the pool guy. Everybody should have a pool person.
Right.
Was this a bit?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Okay, but it's not connecting.
No.
I thought you had a bit, and maybe you let it go.
Yeah.
It was a bit about how she should have a
pool.
She should have a pool guy that she has sex with, and you should have somebody. And it's like I forget what it was, but I remember watching it, and enjoying it, and connecting with it.
Yeah. There was a line. Yeah, we married for 15 years. It's time for a girlfriend.
Yeah, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't it, like your stories, your jokes. She's heard them all now. You've heard her 3 stories.
Yeah, it's helping her out.
It's helping
do all the things she doesn't want to do.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you're the best.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
All right, I'll see you.